So at the beginning of 2021, I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with my daughter, but in the middle of the year, I wanted to go to America to surprise a very special man. And so I gave up my apartment, I sold half my belongings and put the other half into a storage unit. I then booked a flight to Mexico, where I stayed by myself in an Airbnb in Cancun for 2 weeks before I could enter the US because of the restrictions, because I'm originally from the UK. And so I ended up staying in the US for 3 months. My things were in the storage unit for the longest time, up until January of this year. This year is 2024. And so I just paid for my storage unit for a really long time, assuming that my things were going to be safe and clean and exactly in the condition that they were in when I put them there. However, when I went to collect all of my things, I realized that that storage unit had a rodent problem. There was poop and pee everywhere. And for the most part, my things were not too precious, but my prized collection of astrology books were amongst the things that were partially ruined. So the majority of my books seemed okay. A few of them had really bad poop and pee on them, and some of them, including my very first astrology book, was eaten. My boyfriend and I, or should I say he, sanitized these for me and put them out in the sun, just the ones that were really bad, the ones that had poop and pee on them. And obviously I'm going to need a new copy of this, and a few others didn't make it either. And for the most part, I was like, okay, these books are fine, they're good to go. And I needed to renovate this room because my sister was previously in here and then she moved out. And so this teenage bedroom of mine is now my bedroom again. So during the renovation process, one of the sprinkler systems accidentally went off, and this is not one of those tiny little sprinkler systems. This is like torrential rainpour. Oh shit! Oh, it's like a fucking storm in there. It was insane. We flooded the entire apartment and at least 5 floors below us within the first 10 minutes. The fire brigade had to be called. It was a whole ordeal. The aftermath of this horrendous water situation.
Oh my God.
From up here.
Be careful. Might have to start it again.
From up there. Gross. That's how disgusting it is. That's our bedding, brand new. I'm gonna wash that now. And my astrology books were still in boxes, but I didn't realize that they had got really badly flooded, the ones at the bottom of the box. And so by the time I got to them, which was a couple months later, the majority of the ones that were wet had grown mold. So not only were these astrology books pooped on, peed on, and chewed up, they were flooded, and then they had mold all over them. And then recently, because I just discovered the mold a few days ago, I had to bleach them. So they've been through absolute hell, but I love my astrology collection. This is my prized possession. I don't collect very many things, and I do, while I have a Kindle, I only have maybe like a handful, less than 10 astrology books on the Kindle. The majority are paper, and this is not all of them because some of them were ruined beyond repair. This is the only one. I kept this one because it's my first astrology book, so it has been sanitized, but it's no longer, I mean, like half the words at the back here are gone. By the way, this is one of my favorite books, and I think Linda Goodman was an amazing astrologer. She also has another book called Love Signs. She has a few. I think there's a Star Signs one as well. I never owned that one. Love Signs I actually sent to my boyfriend as a gift, and so I'm gonna have to purchase new copies of both again, which is very, very sad. But They've been sitting with the dehumidifier for a few days, and now they are all dry, albeit a little bit crinkly and looking a bit worse for wear. However, the majority of my astrology books are old. They're like from the 70s or 80s, or some really, really old. And so I have a tendency to purchase pre-loved or used astrology books if they are not recent editions, if they're not new books that have just come out. Because there's something about like owning an astrology book that another astrology has owned in the past. I feel like, although I don't personally have an astrology mentor, like a one-on-one that I know, there's something nice about being passed down an astrology book, even though it wasn't passed down. And then sometimes you get lucky and there's like a photo or like an insert in there, or like some notes that they've put in the margins. So you guys are perched on my astrology books right now. And we are going to organize them into, I'm hoping, just these two bookshelves. I think that might work, but let's see. Okay, so this is what we have. We have 3 piles, and yeah, so it's not too many, and I'm pretty confident that they'll fit here. So let's do that. First up, we have Linda Goodman's Sun Signs, which I don't want to put this in with the other books, so I'm just going to place it over here as kind of like a memory memento type thing. I don't feel like I have any kind of order that I want to put them in. I'm just going to grab them as they are. So I'm big on books that are about the rising sign or the ascendant, because there are times I definitely feel more my ascendant than my sun. I even have a tattoo that combines the two, Virgo and Scorpio, obviously. So I have this, oh, if you guys didn't know, I actually used to work as a psychological astrologer. So I have some of these types of books as well. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I have a business now where I sell stickers and other things that I design. So I don't know, I think I'll just put them on the bookshelf and then maybe rearrange as I see books that I feel like need to fit in next to them. So we have the rising sign and astrological counseling. And I feel like this bookshelf isn't very tall, so I think some books are going to have to go lying down. The Arcana Dictionary of Astrology. This one got mold on it pretty badly, like in the spine as well, and I soaked cotton wool pads in bleach and I left it there for like 2 nights, like 2 days and 2 nights. This one, some of them only needed 1 day, but like it's all crinkly and stuff. And I mean, this is an old book. It's by Fred Gettings. Let me see the year of this book. Not as old as I thought, because I guess the way it looks now, and also I purchased this pre-loved. So 1985, first published. The first book that has come up by my favorite author, Liz Green. This is The Outer Planets and Their Cycles. She's amazing. So I have this. I think I might keep her books together, so I'm going to put this to the side. Another favorite author, I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name because I have no idea how it is, but his first name is Dane. This is The Astrological Houses, and I'm actually missing another book by the same title, and the author is Howard Sasportas, who I believe has passed away probably like 30 years ago. He and Liz Green did a lot of seminars together, and I have some of their seminars transcribed in some of these books. Really hard to get to. Hang on, someone's at the door. I don't know what I said when I heard the door go, but what I meant was that the books are hard to get a hold of. I think I said get by. They're hard to get a hold of, or they're really expensive. But the other book called The 12 Houses is amazing, and I don't know where it is, which is annoying. but I will leave this aside as well. I have 3 of these, Mapping the Psyche by Claire Martin. So I have this one, volume 2, I have volume 1, and volume 3 is somewhere. So I'm going to put these together and put them aside for a moment. We have Saturn by Adam Smith, Fatal Attraction. That's going up there. And then we have The Astrology of Choice by Roy Alexander. This is Roy Alexander. Astrology as a Path to Higher Consciousness. I actually haven't read this one yet. So very few of them I haven't read yet, but the majority of them I have, and many of them I've read multiple times because I just feel like, oh, there are a bunch of books missing because I'm gonna go and look for them. Well, that is extremely annoying because I can't find the one book that I was looking for, and I know that one book is missing, although I don't know exactly what book it is, but I think it's a Liz Green / Howard Susporta's transcribed seminar talk book. I know I don't have it because it's got a bunch of these page flags in it, like literally like 50 of them. So I'm assuming it's in like a bag or a purse somewhere. But I did find Solar Returns, which was a birthday gift from me to me. I haven't got round to reading it yet because so much drama has happened since my birthday. And I also have another favorite author. This one is Experiments and Experience with Astrology, Reflections on Methods and Meaning. This is his newer book. The author's name is Stephen Arroyo. Incredible books. I think he's got maybe 8 now, including this one. I think this is one of them, Exploring Jupiter. Amazing, amazing book. So I'm gonna put his books on this other side so that I can keep them all together when I do come across them. Spiritual Astrology. This is a good book. I read it a very long time ago, but I don't remember it too well, so maybe on my to be reread list. So another Stephen Arroyo book. This one is a firm favorite of mine. This one is Astrology, Psychology and the 4 Elements. Really, really good. I've probably read this about 3 times, and this is one of the books that actually came with a photograph in it. So that's the picture. Like I said, I buy my books a lot of the time pre-loved, and there is a note at the back. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to make that out, but it's written by 2 or 3 people. Yeah, I just love finding things like this in books, so I'm going to put this one aside as well. Okay, another Liz Green, I think. Yes, this is Liz Green and Howard Susporta's, the other author I was talking about. This one is Luminaries, so it's about the sun and the moon. I'm going to keep saying amazing book. They're all amazing. I love all of my astrology books. Like I said, they're my prized possessions. I don't collect anything else. You know, I just really value them, so yeah. I think what I'll do for Liz Green books is I will put them next to the Stephen Arroyo books. So I'll just lean it up there for now. And then, okay, so I will put this one next to it too. Another Stephen Arroyo chart interpretation handbook. This is great if you do chart interpretations. This one looks like it's in great condition. So this one didn't get watered on. Yeah, very happy about that. And this one says Debbie or Dabble. I'm always finding these things. One of my books has like a whole ton of like writing in it as well. So I have this big one. Astrology workbook. I think this is the one that has some writing in it. Yeah, look. In the margins, someone has written in there. I just think that's so cool to see like what other people are thinking, and whoever this is has really, really good handwriting, especially when writing the glyphs. Like, come on, look at that Capricorn. That's one of the hardest ones to write. I wonder who owned this. People should really put their names in books when they buy them. So I'm going to put this one down here because it won't fit long ways. And now we have The Eyes of the Sun, Astrology in Light of Psychology. The author of this book is Peter Malson. I don't own any other books by this author. This is the only one. Next up we have Chiron, an entire book about Chiron. I also had an entire book on Pluto, and that has also vanished. I literally still have a ton of boxes that haven't been looked through or opened, so I'm hoping that more books are going to reveal themselves as I unpack. But this book is by Barbara Hand Clow. And then we have Astrology of Transformation and Empowerment. It's not of, it's just astrology, and then the subtitle is Transformation and Empowerment. And this one is by Adrienne Ross Duncan. And I believe this is one that I have not read yet. I think this might have been a gift, or maybe a gift from me to me. I don't remember. But no, I haven't read this one yet. So on my list. I think I'm going to keep the chunky ones down here. That's what I've been doing. I think that looks good. Another Stephen Arroyo. This one is Astrology, Karma and Transformation. And have read this one once, I believe. Although I do read his books very often, but I feel like maybe I read Liz Green books the most, as in like repeatedly read the same book multiple times. Yeah, another really good one. Next we have The Only Way to Learn Astrology, pretty basic book. It's by two different people. This is the second edition, but sometimes it's good to have basic books. And you know, I kind of like that it's like really crinkly. This one got soaked. So is it just me? Does anyone else like that? I like that. So this is more of a dipping in and out type book. You know, it's not a cover to cover type book, but you know, these have their place as well. But this is the main reason I don't buy astrology books on the Kindle or like an ebook, because sometimes you have to dip in and out and it's more difficult. Like Kindle is great for cover to cover reading novels and stuff, but when it comes to astrology reference books, I just prefer the paper version. Next we have another big one. This one is by Sue Tompkins, The Contemporary Astrologer's Handbook. This is the last one to dry. And again, I think it's got that kind of, not as much as the last one, but it's kind of crinkly. But yeah, I read this one and I do recommend it. Highly recommend this one actually, it's really good. Yeah. I feel like I have a soft spot for astrology books that have a chart on the front. I just really love the way charts look. This one has a grand water trine. And then we have another Liz Green book. This may be my all-time favorite book. It's called Relating. And it's just Liz Green, and it's about Venus and Mars, as you can probably guess. I've probably read this one maybe 5 times. Did I make any notes in this? I actually haven't made notes inside this. But the next time I read it, I might do. Which is making me really annoyed now because I can't find or think of the other book that I made notes in. Very annoying, but it will come up at some point. So highly, highly recommend this book. This book is from, oh, she has a quote in here. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. And so this was first published in 1977. And this is the 1990 edition. Another Stephen Arroyo book. This one is Relationships and Life Cycles, also highly recommended. I like books that are to do with like relationships because everyone has relationships all the time with everyone you know. It's not only love, it's, you know, all relationships, parent and child, siblings, friends, co-workers, frenemies, enemies. Yeah, I like this book a lot. Next book, Psychological Astrology by Karen. Ooh, I am not going to try and pronounce that name. But this is another, this one, the tagline here says, a synthesis of Jungian psychology and astrology. So if you guys don't know, Carl Jung was really an advocate of astrology, especially psychological astrology, and he, don't quote me on this, it's in, I do have like a basic astrology course coming up. I think it's like a 9 or a 10-part course. Embarrassingly, I've been working on it since 2013. And I think in the first video, the intro, I do quote one of his actual quotes about astrology. So yeah, I definitely know that he was big on astrology. So yeah, that's another good one. Next we have The Astrology of Self-Discovery by Tracy Marks. And the reason I got into astrology when I was a kid, and I literally mean a kid, I was like 9 years old when I first discovered astrology, and so I've been learning for decades. And yeah, one of the first, or I guess the only reason when I was a kid was to kind of know myself better and know people better, and just the whole psychological side of it, and also self-discovery. So I had to pick up this book. It looks like it has absolutely been through the ringer. But I feel like this may have been one that I haven't actually read yet. Or if I did, it was a very, very long time ago. So this book is from, ooh, oh, it's falling apart. I'm gonna have to glue this back in. I can see the binding is very fragile. So this is a 1985 book. Oh, actually, I think this may be a 1985 edition, but it says 1950 in here. See? So yeah, I think this may be the only book I have from this author, and I don't know much about her. I'm assuming she's a her. Yeah, it says she at the back. So yeah, I don't know much about this astrologer, but yeah, that's one of the books. We're kind of coming to the end now. Next one we have is Keywords for Astrology, another kind of dip in and out reference book. Looks like this. So, you know, it has like the tabs, the ascendant, different houses, the planets. So it's very much a dip in and out type of book. Now I genuinely don't remember whether I was the one who highlighted this or if it was someone else. Judging by the highlight, not just the color, but the oh, there's some notes in there as well, not just by the color but by the line stroke. It wasn't me because I'm a Virgo and these are pretty wonky lines. So yeah, not pre-owned by a Virgo, I would say. I think we are going to be able to fit them on the 2 shelves because we're coming kind of towards the end now. I'm going to put solar returns and astrological houses on the bookshelf because I don't think I'm going to be able to find the other astrological house, which is my holy grail of astrological house reference books. I'm going to have to search all of my boxes, and if I don't have it, I'm just going to have to repurchase it because I cannot be without that book. By Howard Sasportas, if you guys are wondering, or if you forgot and you want to look it up. Okay, so did we already have an Erin Sullivan book? I'm not sure. This one is Retrograde Planets. Oh, guys, remember I said Howard Sasportas has like passed away? Did I say roughly 30 years ago, or was I just thinking it? But I'm pretty sure I had at the back of my mind that he passed away in 92. And this book by Erin Sullivan is actually dedicated to Howard. So it says, dedicated to the spirit of inquiry and in loving memory of Howard, 1948 to 1992. I'm like 99% sure that is Howard Sasportas because I had 92 in my head for the year that he passed away. And this was first published in 92, so a fitting tribute. There's a few more books to go through. Of course, the next one I pick up is a Liz Green book. This one is The Astrology of Fate. And yes, it is, oh, It's Been Bitten. So that is by the Rodents. I don't know if they were rats or mouses. Mouse? 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 I don't know if it was a rat or a mouse, or there were loads because there was shit everywhere. But like tiny pellet poops, you know, not like the smudgy. Anyway, this is a really good book. Myth and Zodiac. I love when they go in like deep into mythology, because mythology is like really linked into psychological astrology. And this book, let's see how old this one is. This one, ooh, this one was published around the corner from me in 1984. So another chunky one. This is an introduction to astropsychology. Very much the type of thing that I'm into, by Glenn Perry. A synthesis of modern astrology and depth psychology. And I have a diploma in abnormal psychology and also transpersonal psychology. So I'm like really into psychology. And this is also very much a dip in and out type book, as opposed to a cover to cover. Although I will admit, I read all my books, even astrology reference books, cover to cover first, and then I use them as reference books. But I have a tendency to, if it's an astrology book, I want to know everything, so I'm reading the whole thing. Yeah, so chunky book going down here. So that's kind of cool. I thought more books wouldn't fit this way, and I thought most of them were going to have to lie down flat, but it's only this one so far. And it will only be that one because we're coming to the end now. So we have Saturn. This one is also by Liz Green, with the foreword by Robert Hand, who I am not familiar with. A new look at an old devil. So this one is from 1976. So this is a pretty old book. Probably not my oldest though. Yeah, this is a good one. Another one for the Liz Green collection. I've probably said the name Liz Green like 1,000 times in this in this video. But here is the 3rd volume of the Claire Martin book. So I can now put these together. So we have volume 1, 2, and 3. These are called Mapping the Psyche. So volume 1 is Planets and Zodiac Signs. Volume 2 is Planetary Aspects and the Houses of the Horoscope. And 3 is Kairos, the Astrology of Time. So although these would technically fit up here, I'm pretty sure I'm missing some more Liz Green books. So I'm going to put these ones at the bottom. We have 2 books left, and of course I have figured out the book that's missing. It is volume 2 of this one. Okay, this is The Development of the Personality. This is the cover of another book that kind of got merged into it. This is Seminars in Psychological Astrology, and as you can see, it's by Liz Green and Howard Sesportas. This one was first published in 1987. So it is volume 2 that's missing. I believe there may be 4 in total, and I'm still, you know, trying to collect them all. Again, another book that I've read multiple times. I just feel like these are so good, and they literally feel like, you can see it's like it's got their name, it's like transcribed, you know, who's saying what, and you kind of feel like you're there with them. So I really like this. And there's one more book left. One more book left, maybe my oldest book in my entire collection. It is The Astrology of Personality. And this one got pretty wet as well, but it was already in pretty rough condition just from being quite old. A reinterpretation of astrological concepts and ideals in terms of contemporary psychology and philosophy. So I believe this is the 3rd edition, 1970. But let's see when this was first published. The Astrology of Personality was first published in 1936 by Lucius Publishing Company and reissued in 1963 by Servier / Wesenaar in the Netherlands. I'm really bad with new words. I just can't read English very well. I learnt the Japanese alphabet, and I was able to read it pretty fluently, very, very quickly. Something about how each character is a syllable as opposed to a sound just made it so much easier for me. But of course, I have Mercury retrograde natally, so yeah, that is the final book that I'm putting on the bookshelf. Come and have a look. Where should we put this one? I feel like this is gonna go, I feel like this should go up here. Like it fits, right? Because they're both kind of old, but then that is no longer a book that is in use. That is just like a legacy book at this point. So I think he's gonna go here in between Liz and Stephen. And I'm gonna have to get like bookends or something to make it a bit more uniform. But how nice does that look? I am so happy with this. I think it looks really cool. I'll be honest, I thought we were gonna surpass 2 shelves and maybe have to go on to the 3rd. I don't know what I was thinking, because previously I had a different type of bookshelf, you know, the square IKEA ones. And so I definitely had more books because I filled up maybe 3 or 4 of them, and they were like doubled. So there were books in the front and books at the back because they were quite deep. So there are some books missing, but this is what we have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video with me, and please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!